Well, it is not a proper Comic-Con if I don't catch up with my pal, Kevin Smith. How's it going?
That's a pal high five.
Yeah.
You can see how I fucking fumbled. And it's like,
it's early for...
It's early, and also, to be fair, right before we start, I got a piece of information I won't share because I don't want to spoil it, but it made this interview impossible. I give a fuck about Clerks 3 based on what she just said before this Clerks 3 interview began. So ask like standard questions, then we'll talk about Marvel.
Okay, fair enough. So Clerks 3 on the horizon. I love the trailer. Clerks 1 is in my top 5 movies of all time. I love it
Seriously?
so much. I'm dead serious, yeah.
You should totally come over to the house and watch it like the real Blend Boys did.
Yeah.
That was the other thing that we talked about right beforehand. She's friends with which one?
Jake Hamilton.
Jake's
all
Takes.
three,
And you like him, but you know him the most?
Yeah.
And they came over to my house to watch Clerks 3 just recently, and they left you out.
They left me out. Real
fucking
boys.
A real He-Man woman haters club. They just completely left her out, man. You totally could come over. It would have broken it up. It was like a sausage party at that fucking thing, man. So next time you absolutely come over. Now tell me what Marvel's doing.
We'll do this after.
No, all right.
I shouldn't have said anything.
No, you really shouldn't have, because I got like 9 more interviews. And I'm like, hold them. So wait, what else?
So can you walk me through the process of Clerks 3? Because I had been asking you about it for years, and you were like, "It's not going to happen. It can't happen."
Yeah.
So what happened after that?
I had a heart attack, and that paved the way for so many things in life. Like when you nearly die, everyone feels sorry for you. And so you're like, I want to do these things. When I was like, I want to do Clerks 3 before the heart attack. People were like, we give a fuck. After the heart attack, I was like, I want to do Clerks 3. They're like, give him what he wants. He's about to die at any minute and shit. So I've used that pity and that sympathy to move projects forward that I've long dreamed about fucking concluding and stuff. Jane Silent Bob reboot was the first one. Clerks 3 I've been trying to make for the better part of 10 years. It took the heart attack to crystallize it, really. It also gave the movie a much better shape. There was a version of Clerks 3 that I had written years ago that we did not make. That lifted some jokes from and shit, but the structure of it was completely fucking different. Didn't take place at Quick Stop at all. Took place outside of a movie theater the entire time. So this wound up being a lot closer to what it needed to be. I love Clerks 2. It's one of my favorite films I ever made, but like we spend all of the movie away from Quick Stop, and Quick Stop is the nucleus, man. It's the rock from which all the waters flow and stuff. It's where all the ley lines cross. Yeah. And so we shot Clerks 2 mostly in Buena Park, California, and so there was that aspect of like, is it really a Clerks movie if you're not in New Jersey? This time around, because of the heart attack, because the timing worked out, we got to shoot the entire movie in New Jersey, which is the first time I've done that since the first movie I ever made. Any other time we made a Jersey film, like Mallrats was set in Jersey, shot in Minneapolis and stuff. So there a lot of them. Clerks 2 shot out in California. So it was nice to be back in the motherland, like doing it right. And it took a while to get there. It makes you so grateful when like it was a decade. Honestly, I've been thinking about making a Clerks 3 since the end of Clerks 2 because I love the jail scene in Clerks 2. We saw something in Randall that we'd never seen in any of the movies. And it happens like right at the end of the third act. And I was like, oh, I want to watch a whole movie just about fucking that now. I want to see what happens when that guy drops his cynicism like he did for that minute. So ever since the end of Clerks 2, I was like, I want to make a movie. The next one's really about like Randall growing up, so to speak. And it always had that Randall first kind of structure to it. Then I had the heart attack, and then I was like, oh, fuck, I'll give Randall my heart attack. Yeah. And then let him come to, I had my heart attack, and I wasn't like, oh my God, I should go, fucking make a movie. I'd been making movies forever. In fact, at one point, I was like, maybe it was the movies that gave me the fucking heart attack. But Randall is the reverse. He has a heart attack, and he's like, I've wasted my life watching people's movies. Why didn't I ever try to fucking make one? And so Randall and Dante go on the adventure of essentially making Clerks, even right down to the black and white. So the snake not only eats its fucking tail, it eats your tail, his tail, everyone's fucking tail in this movie. It's meta as fuck, but emotional as hell, which was kind of unintended. It just happened that way. I think when audiences watch it, I've watched it with a few audiences, the general impression that I get is if you're of a certain age, 30 or up or something like that, you've spent some time with these characters. And in this movie, you see them at each stage of the other movies as well. You literally watch them grow up on camera. And so there's this weird switch of poignancy, it seems like, or it's really self-reflective. Every audience member is essentially selfish at heart, right? Like you're watching a story and you're like, what would it be if I was there? How would I react to that? You always put it through that kind of prism. Same thing happens with this movie. They're watching this and suddenly they're like, oh my God, I've watched all of these movies. I've watched them grow up. Holy shit, I'm old. I've been watching these people as old as they are. I must be equally as old and stuff. And suddenly there's this weird transference of nostalgia and sentimentality that makes the movie incredibly potent in the third act. Yeah, it's weird. It's funny as fuck, don't get me wrong, but like by the end, it rips your heart out. It's pretty sweet.
I remember my first time seeing Clerks, but I also remember my first time seeing Clerks 2 because it was my first rated R movie.
The fuck, seriously?
Yes.
Why Clerks 2? That would be like my first rated R movie was fucking Barton Fink.
Okay,
like,
but
why?
when
What
you
a weird
turn
choice.
17, you have to go see a rated R movie. I think that was the only one that was. I mean, I wanted to see it anyway, but it was the rated R movie that was in theaters that weekend.
I feel very flattered by that, man. Like, if you were just like throwing a dart at an R-rated movie, like, thank God You, Me, and Dupree was PG-13.
Right?
Because then you went our way. That was rock. And it's sad that I still remember that we opened against You, Me, Dupree. Like, that's still lodged in my head.
Has been having a vendetta against Owen Wilson this whole time.
For all the way, no. But it was like, if that wasn't there, what would we have done? You live like that as a filmmaker. People in the media and stuff like that cover the horse race of like when a movie comes out. And then afterwards, nobody gives a fuck. And 5 years later, nobody remembers except the filmmaker who carries that shit like herpes or a cross for the rest of their lives. You remember every detail about the release and stuff. And I've had so many different releases, some successful, some not, that I figured out a way to like rig the system in my favor. So like we made Jay and Silent Bob Reboot. We took it out on a 65 city tour. It was fucking bliss. I literally watched the movie with like 1,000 to 2,000 people every night who were just hardcore fans. Thank you so much. But could you imagine watching something with a room full of people with 100% consensus? Like you don't get that on the internet, right? Never. But like touring the movie the way you do, like the price point is like ridiculous to see a movie. Most people like, I wouldn't pay more than $10. You come out and see it on tour, you're getting the movie and then a show with me afterwards. So it's like minimum $50 or something like that. Right then and there, most of the people showing up, even if they're like, this movie sucks, they're gonna be like, I paid $50, it's the best fucking movie I ever saw. So you rig the system to like go into a room each and every time where that movie is made directly for every person in this room. There's no one in there who's randomly like, I'll try this because it's a rated R movie. They're there because they love it.
I said earlier that Clerks 1 was in my top 5 favorite movies.
True. Did you realize that after seeing Clerks 2? Wait, if Clerks 2 was your first R-rated movie, didn't you go back and watch Clerks?
No, I saw Clerks 1. My friend put it on at my house one time.
So Clerks 2 is the first rated R movie you saw in a movie theater?
In a movie theater. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Fair enough.
The first rated R movie I saw was probably
You do not have to
something.
apologize to me. I'm just trying to follow this Buck and Bronkoven interview, man, and hold on for dear fucking life. As soon as it's over, it's all Marvel talk. So I'm trying to rush through this. I'm on Clerks 3, yes.
Yeah. Clerks 3. What was it? So I grew up in Delaware, so it was like it's a big thing still.
Oh my God, Delaware is practically New Jersey.
It is.
It's New Jersey -3.
Especially living out here, people are like, where is that?
Yeah.
And like, it's up in New England somewhere. I'm like, no, it's like near Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Maryland.
They have like one of the best low-key burns in cinematic history with Wayne and Garth in Wayne's World, where they're like, Delaware.
I can't get through a week without that.
It's got to be. I think that's how most people in pop culture know Delaware.
Yeah. Like Delaware.
Not us in Jersey. We know Delaware as like, oh, the other New Jersey.
But it was a big destination to go up to the Quick Stop and like go take pictures and yeah.
How far is the ride? 2 and change?
God.
I remember driving to Delaware once.
It has to be like 2.5.
I did a Q&A. It was crazy. You know
it's
what?
in North Jersey, right?
I'm going to share it. What?
The Quick Stop.
No, Central Jersey. Oh my God, did you see how like hate came over my face? North Jersey? Fuck those fools.
So yeah, if people don't know Jersey, people get really...
Oh my God, most people in New Jersey felt there's always been 2 New Jerseys, North Jersey and South Jersey. Yeah. However, I grew up in Central Jersey and there's an entire movement to recognize the fact that Central Jersey exists. North and South Jersey try to squeeze us out. Be like, you're either North or you're South. No, there are those of us like Switzerland who live in Central New Jersey. Let me tell you a story about Delaware. I just remembered as we were sitting here and stuff, even though I really want to get to the Marvel conversation.
We'll get to it, I promise.
Delaware changed my life, and as much as I went to go, how many people can say that?
Not me.
I know, you left. I went there. I went to do a Q&A in Delaware after Mallrats came out. And it was the University of Delaware, or one of the colleges. It's right on the border. It was like
it's the only one, so yeah.
Gotta be, right?
Pretty much.
So they had called up, and they're like, hey, we're showing Mallrats. They called my office. We're showing Mallrats. Like, do you want to come talk? And nobody had ever asked me to do that. I'd come out after film festival screenings of Clerks and do Q&A, but with Mallrats, we were in and out of theaters so fast, there was none of that stuff. So here it was a college going like, hey, we're going to show the movie, you want to come talk? And I was like, fuck yeah, it's Delaware. Like,
of course.
It's close. I drive to Delaware, and you got to remember, like, Mallrats tanked hard. You know, we spent $5 million making it, made like $2 million at the
wild to
box
me.
office. Isn't that crazy?
That kid.
Once again,
That kid
the filmmaker
is back
carries
on the
cross.
escalator again.
See, like lines like that, but made no money whatsoever. So there I was driving down to Delaware, just fucking licking my wounds and shit, being like, I suck. I'm fucking, well, I should just make black and white movies set in fucking $27,000 world. Feeling real self-pitying and shit. And I get to the University of Delaware and the movie's already playing. They're eating it up like candy. Like, it's playing through the fucking roof, man. So instantly I'm in the back of the theater going, where were all these fuckers like a few months ago when this movie came out? Holy shit, it does work. I thought it did. What happened? Then I went and did the Q&A, and they were so wonderful. They were so, like, you know, I'd done a lot of Q&As at Sundance and film festivals for Clerks, but they were more academic, or at least they kind of posed them as academic. And then I'd be like, let me tell you how we got the cat to shit on cue. So I took them in my direction. Here I was in an academic setting, and they were just kind of talking, asking wonderful questions about the movie that weren't really like insanely thoughtful, but just more about like, do you really read comic books and shit like that? And I'm like, yeah, don't you? And like, yeah, but like, I didn't know that was a thing. I was like, it's not, but it's getting bigger, I guess. I mean, it's been a thing. You talk the history with them. That night changed my life, because after that, everybody would call and be like, would you come and talk at the college? And I was like, yeah, sure. So they'd show a movie and I'd come talk about it afterwards. Never once like going like, you should pay me. I was like, I just think this is my responsibility as a filmmaker. Cut to Rutgers, Camden campus, and I'm doing one of these things, same thing, like Q&A, they're showing the movie and shit. And it was a 4-hour Q&A. 2 hours into the Q&A, I go outside, grab a cigarette. We put up a Clerks cartoon they'd never seen. I go out and get a cigarette, and the college student in charge of the event, the student activities committee, starts talking to me while I'm smoking. And she's like, man, you talk a lot. And I was like, yeah, well, you know, they came, so if they're here, I might as well talk and shit. And she's going, no, I'm just saying that's great, but like, you've talked for 2 hours. Are you going to keep talking more? I was like, yeah, I'll probably go for like another hour, 2 hours. Anything happening after me? She's like, no, everyone will love that. And she goes, you talk way longer than Janine Garofalo. And I was like, oh, Janine Garofalo came here and spoke? I've worked with her. She was in Dogma. And she goes, yeah, she only spoke for like 45 minutes, and she charged $20,000. And I was like,
whoa.
I said, what? And these were like near $2,000. And I was like, what do you mean she charged $20,000? She's like, well, most people that come to speak like get paid. She's like, you're the only person I've ever heard of who goes around all these colleges and does it for free. Everyone loves you. That's why they call you. And I was like, I should start getting gas money.
Yeah, I gotta get paid.
And I did. I started getting gas money. Years later, my agent was like, you know, you should be getting paid for this, and then picked me up, and suddenly that became my thing, like a whole side gig. A lot of my economy don't come from making films, literally comes from standing around talking about films, and that happened first in Delaware.
Hey, Delaware.
See how we brought that all around and shit? Storytelling, kids. They're going to cut it up to like 30 seconds on the internet, so I'm going to be like, Delaware, Marvel, Clerks 3.
Yep, that's it. That's all.
I've seen Screen Rant. I've been Screen Ranted before. I know how you play.
I wanted to ask you about something in the trailer. There's
Ask
a moment
anything
where
you want. You're going to get it all.
Yeah, where Randall suggests that Dante gets shot and killed.
Yeah.
Which is
such a
great reference.
Deep cuts inside joke. So much so that I was like, they'll never use this in the trailer, and they fucking put it in the trailer. I was like, who's gonna get this? And they're like, buddy, a lot of people understand like the history of your movie. Anybody we're going after, movie's got a fucking 3 in the title. They're probably familiar with the first Clerks, and they're probably familiar with like what you cut from it and stuff. So they took a gamble and put it in the trailer. That's gamble. And that's dice. I just, in case, I know it's Screen Rant, so they're just gonna cut this and be like, Kevin Smith says this. They roll the dice, and that button works so well. People like really dug it. I didn't have enough confidence in that button. They call it a button. It's like a little joke in the trailer. Because I was like, who's gonna get this? That's 2 deep cuts, but it seems to work. And you brought it up.
Yes.
Fuck, man. But you're a fan, as you said. First rated R movie that you saw in a theater. What a weird fucking specific list that is. First rated R movie I saw in a theater while I was eating popcorn and a small Coke.
Can't tell if you like me or not.
I fucking love you. You should have come to that screening. Those Real Blend boys were so boring, man. And they didn't know shit about Marvel, I'll tell you that. I fucking gave you my whole Delaware story.
I know.
That's a sign of affection. I'm like, I'm gonna do this Delaware dump on it. I know you were bored by it, but I think some people out there might be interested.
All 16 people in Delaware are gonna go nuts over that.
I was like, are you saying 16 people watch Screen Rant? Because I just wasted my fucking morning. More than 16 people, because when a Screen Rant thing has gone up and that has my name in it, and sometimes it's clickbaity, oh, the world lets me know and shit.
Oh, so yeah. So
you got a big audience. You got a big audience.
So I know you love Marvel, Star Wars, but when are you going to do
Never.
a Degrassi movie?
Oh, all right. I thought you meant one of those and shit. You're like, I'd never ask that. That's a ridiculous question. A Degrassi movie? This is crazy, but I'll be honest with you. I had a shot. Linda Schuyler back in the day wrote, her and her crew wrote Degrassi the movie, and I was going to direct it.
What?
Yes. And a big part of the storyline involved Jimmy, who'd been shot a season previous.
Season
finally getting, well done, finally getting up and walking. And of course, Jimmy would have been played by a young, I forget who it was. But yeah, we were going to make a Degrassi. I have a script in my house, Degrassi, the movie. No. And they wound up doing it on the show, where a version of it, where they traveled cross country and went to Hollywood, and Jay was in it. And yeah, it all exists.
I'll tell you whatever you want if you let me read the Degrassi script.
Yeah, I'll let you absolutely read it and stuff. But again, you pretty much saw it. They took the script and then incorporated it into like the next season. So they did a kind of version of it. The idea was to do a theatrical release of a Degrassi film, which it would have been amazing because that means I would have made a Canadian film. I'm a huge fan of Canada. Yeah. I like Delaware, don't get me wrong, but I'm a huge fan of Canada, which is North America's Delaware, as you know.
There's a lot of Screen Rant offices are in Canada.
Yes. Are they really?
Yeah.
Explains a lot.
I don't know what that means.
In a good way. In a good way. Like I said, I'm a big fan of Canada. Now I can't figure out if you like me.
I love you.
Well, that just got real.
We're just doing
fast.
We're doing like banter.
It is. This is total banter.
Love
This is basically banter from back east. This is how Delaware and New Jersey banters back and forth.
Yeah, it's kind of like the arm punch type thing.
Passive aggressive. You don't know if they like each other.
No.
What a weird question. You're like, I don't even know if you like. Of course. Do you do that to everyone that comes in here?
Yeah.
Don't ask the people
1
you're
to
interviewing.
10.
Like,
how much do you like me?
My last question: do you like me?
If you could fill out the survey on your way out, it would really help me.
You would be the talk of Comic-Con. Everyone would be like, "Did you go to Screen Rant? Did she ask if you liked her?" I was like, "She's a little needy, a little thirsty, but she got a good heart. She's from Delaware, and she knows a lot about the Marvel panel. I'll tell you that much."
Well, Kevin Smith, thank you so much.
Absolute pleasure.
Best
Absolute
friends.
Pleasure. Yes.